All right, thank you everyone for coming out tonight. If you want to take your seats here in the next minute or so we can get started. We're going to go through the presentation. We'll have a question and answer session for any concerns that you have, and we'll go from there, okay? All right, thank you everyone for coming out tonight. Appreciate it. My name is Chris Schoenig. I am the city planner here. That's a new role with the city. I've been here for about 6 months. And I have a few members of city staff here with me as well. We have Dawn Calvert, who is the Assistant Safety Service Director, Daryl Farkas, Building Official, Mark Craig, Administrative Legal Counsel, Ashley Scott is right behind me. She's a Community Development Director, and we have John Schneider, our Chief Engineer with the city as well, in attendance. So tonight we're going to just go through a few things with this zoning code update that we are still working on. I want to emphasize that. The city will be having public meetings at a later time, formal public meetings with Planning Commission, City Council, when this is a little more ready. But this is a very preliminary meeting to discuss some of your concerns and thoughts regarding this zoning code update. So we've gone through our welcome, introductions here. Our presentation tonight is going to include just a few brief items here. Role of my position, city planner, what does that mean exactly? The zoning basics, just to give all of you an understanding. If you don't know what zoning is, we'll go through that in brief to sort of give you a 101 class, if you will. And then we're going to go through our new zoning code. We can go through that on a very high level. The document is available online as well for your use. And if you do need a paper copy, I will have them available either in the back here, or if you do need it printed, you can just reach out to me. My business cards are available in the back as well. We'll talk about next steps and a brief question and answer session regarding any of your concerns with this new zoning code update. So we had some public meetings last in February. I think it was the 21st and 25th. This was very preliminary at the time. We had a draft, I think it was about 70, 60 pages or so. This document has increased in size to about 130 pages. So since February, what have we done? Our consultant provided an updated version of our plan in March, following the last public meeting. New information is included in the update, including information to what including accessory uses, fences, and signage. Later on in the presentation, if you don't know what an accessory use is, we'll explain that for you. Zoning districts and uses have a greater definition. Some of these were very preliminary definitions that were provided, so we've honed into those a little bit more and have elaborated further. Public input, all of you, if you attended those meetings in February, that input was considered in these revisions that were made. So that is another important piece to this puzzle that we're going through together. So zoning districts were changed on our zoning map. As you can see, we have one available there, where the districts were changed slightly, and then some of the permitted uses were also revised. Some of them became conditional uses, and once again, we'll explain what that is a little bit later if you don't know the definition of that. And currently, our city legal department is reviewing these proposed changes to the zoning code to ensure compliance with state statutes, federal laws, and of course, any local laws that we have. So moving on here with our presentation. So role of the city planner, any of you that are coming in, that's me. I'm the city planner for Elyria. So what we do is we review needs, zoning needs of the city, review requests for zoning. We create what is called a staff report. And what this is based on our findings of whether it's compliant with our zoning code. You have to consider what a zoning code is. It is law when it is adopted by ordinance. And these reports are directed to either our Board of Zoning Appeals for what is called a variance, Planning Commission for rezonings, and of course, City Council has final say on anything that's related to a rezoning or a conditional use. So my role with the residents and developers, my role is to guide you or developers through the review process, such as these rezonings, conditional uses, variances, what we call design review. That's usually aesthetics for commercial properties in the city, industrial properties, and so forth. And also my role is to coordinate with city departments. As you can see, we got many staff members here. I work with them on mostly a daily basis to ensure everything is moving smoothly concerning anything regarding the zoning code. So our first section of this presentation tonight is zoning basics. To give all of you a basic understanding of what zoning is, there's several benefits that can be attributed to zoning. It does protect property values, separates residential areas from industrial, commercial zones, preserving the neighborhood character, ensures public health and safety, regulates setbacks, how far a building is from the road, the height of the building. I'm sure if you have a single-family home, you don't want to live next to somebody that has an 80-foot tall building. Guides orderly development, promotes efficient growth, and prevents haphazard land uses. It's to avoid having, let's say, a commercial or industrial use next to residential use. Provides amenities such as parks, schools, and services to the community. So what is a zoning district? You'll see in that map at the front there, we've got 8 of them shown. And they vary from residential to commercial to industrial, parks, open space. All of them have a color associated with them. And what each of these districts do is they impose a limit on how a landowner may develop and use their property. You'll have a list of uses. For example, you might have a residential area. Most uses are only going to be residential. They're not going to include a bar or a restaurant in most cases. They aim to organize land use in a way that promotes compatible uses and discourages incompatible ones from the district. And as I said already, the example here, keeping industrial uses away from the residential ones in the community. And each of these zoning districts has a use that is permitted. And there's 3 different types of uses that are usually associated with a zoning district. They include principal uses, conditional, and accessory uses. These uses may be found in several zoning districts, or they may just be found in one in particular. And for example, a heavy manufacturing use would only be found in an industrial zoning district, not in residential or downtown or near a main roadway within the city. So going on with our definitions of these 3 types of uses, our first use is a principal use. This is a use that is permitted outright in a zoning district. That could be a bank, maybe in a commercial area, or just a McDonald's, or anything that you might think is the principal use that would be defined as such, or a single-family home in a residential zoning district. Our second use category, or use type rather, is a conditional use. These uses have limitations to them in a zoning district, and usually, or actually, my apologies, they are authorized by Planning Commission and/or City Council in their final determination. So, for example, a cannabis dispensing facility must meet specific criteria concerning the location. In our proposed zoning code update that we have here, cannabis dispensing facilities, as it is currently, they cannot be located within 1,000 feet of a school, a park, another cannabis dispensing facility to avoid a concentration of these uses. The best interest is in public safety and health. That's pretty much the beginning points of zoning, why zoning exists. So, like I said, the cannabis dispensing facility must meet specific criteria concerning the location and must be abiding state laws and other requirements that may be set forth by the Planning Commission or City Council. Our third type of use that exists in a zoning code is your accessory use. This is subordinate to the principal use on the same lot and naturally serves that use or is incidental to it, meaning, if you have a detached garage on your property, that's considered an accessory use. And in terms of zoning, you can't have an accessory use without a principal use. That's how we've defined it historically, and that will be how it is defined moving forward. So to give you guys just a basic understanding of what all this means, some of these terms that might be a little alien to you, I just thought we would go through some basics here for all of you to understand. So in terms of our, some of our accessory uses with the new zoning code, there are quite a few new ones that are being considered with the revised code that is either in front of you or you have available online for your use. Some of them include accessory dwelling units. Those are mother-in-law suites. Those have become very popular in the U.S. collectively. That does allow a second dwelling unit to exist on a property. This is a tool that is used to combat the housing costs that is affecting the nation. Another accessory use that we have proposed are daycare homes. There are two types of daycare homes defined by the state of Ohio. There are type A and type B. A type B home can be allowed in any residential area, cannot be restricted by zoning, and that is defined as 1 to 6 children being in the home taken care of. Anything that exceeds that amount is 7 to 12 children. We are talking about permitting this in the zoning code update. However, there will be use-specific restrictions. And what that means is they will need to meet certain criteria for parking and things of that nature and ensure that there is not a concentration of them. They're not near a bar or any other type of use as well that may be detrimental to the health or well-being of the children that are staying at this daycare home. Another use that has been very hot-button issue throughout the U.S. is backyard hens, barnyard animals in general. The way we've looked at this is we are singularly looking at allowing backyard hens. A lot of neighboring communities are permitting this. In the city of North Olmsted, Parma Heights, there's many other cities in the local area that are permitting this use. But there will be restrictions and safeguards to ensure public health and safety as well. We are making sure that that is being included in this as well. And beekeeping, that is another one that is also, believe it or not, Cleveland Heights and Parma Heights and other communities in the Northeast Ohio region do permit this in their zoning code. I'm not going to say that necessarily somebody's going to pop up next to you and have it, but they will be allowed to do it. And once again, this will have use-specific restrictions when you do read the zoning code that are in there to ensure that it does not affect people's public health and safety. So, like I said, some of these are, they need to meet a certain distance from other uses of the same vernacular. Requirements such as fencing or screening, setbacks from other property lines, are some of these requirements that are listed for these uses that I've mentioned here today. And then some of these other communities, Cleveland Heights, Parma, Medina, and others do permit these uses. So moving on here to our new zoning code. If you did attend the meetings in February, the use, or rather the districts that are proposed here, most of them are the same. We do have one district that has been added. I believe we presented on 7 in our last meeting, so tonight all 8 of them we will go over in brief. Mention some of those principal uses that are allowed, a few conditional uses as well, and then we will provide you with the next steps of this process. So currently our zoning code is 18 zoning districts. We're moving down to 8. By reducing these zoning districts, it's been shown in a lot of communities throughout the country that can attract more local businesses, promote economic development, Development on vacant parcels, we do have considerable amount. We want to see growth and economic development in Elyria. And then some of our uses are not listed. This last update was in 1998. So with the update that we're having now, some of these uses that have not been considered, such as breweries, green energy, esports centers, Airbnbs, I always have a hard time saying that one. Those are uses that are going to be included in our new zoning code to ensure that it is compliant with a lot of people, a lot of businesses that wish to come into the community. Just so you know, the new zoning code will not impact most residential homes. If your existing use is in operation currently, it will continue to be able to operate. So if you have any concerns regarding that, it's nothing to worry about as we move forward with this process. So our first zoning district that we're going to go through tonight, go over, is the Residential 1 district. This is indicated as the lighter yellow on the map above. It is a considerable part of the city. It's low-density development, preservation of neighborhoods, predominantly residential uses in these areas. They may be appealing to senior citizens and small families, and these areas include our newer subdivisions in the city. Excuse me. And as stated, this includes our 1-unit, 2-unit residential, townhome residential. Some of those daycares are permitted, community gardening, playgrounds, parks, very simple. You're not going to have an industrial manufacturer next to you or a commercial strip coming in. Our second zoning district that we have here tonight is the Residential 2 district. This is indicated as the burnt orange, orangish color on the map that we have above in front of the room here. This district intends to promote broad diversity of housing types, including walkable neighborhoods, compact, affordable residential neighborhoods. Small-scale commercial properties will be permitted in these areas, traditionally at the end of the streets. Grocery stores are intended to be confined to corner lots. These are usually our historical areas of the community, and of course we want to promote sidewalk, bicycle connectivity as well. And this does broaden the range of uses in this Residential 2 district. It is closer to the downtown area, so we are allowing for greater range, such as 3 to 8 unit residential homes, residential care housing, community gardens and parks, which is the status quo from the Residential 1 district. Moving on here down to our downtown district. This is indicated as purple on the map. This is the heart of the city of Elyria. This allows for a mix of uses, businesses, restaurants, bakeries, coffee shops, bars, breweries, so on and so forth. Allows for plazas, pocket parks as well. This area is confined to the downtown district is confined from 5th Street to the river. This is a little bit of an increase from our current downtown zoning district. We are broadening it to allow for greater economic development in the urban core. So some of these uses, they vary, of course. This is probably the most forgiving district. It allows for the most flexibility, but it includes residential uses, all of them, daycare facility, indoor sales and service, which can include various offices and different businesses in the community. Gardens, parks, religious assembly, and so forth. Also, brew pubs, which is a new use that we are included in the zoning code update. Moving along here, our corridor district is indicated as the blue on the map at the front of the room here. These are our arterial roadways in the community. This includes Cleveland Street, Broad Street, West River Road. These are usually near significant intersections, and these buildings are meant to be have a smaller setback from the roadway, providing adequate pedestrian and bicycle connectivity to the neighborhoods and parks, predominantly those residential 2 districts that are close by. And of course, we want to encourage density as well in this portion of the city. These uses are very similar to what you see in the downtown area. A few have been, are not permitted, but we are trying to make this as flexible as possible in these 2 districts, the downtown and the corridor district, to allow for that economic development in the community. So moving along here, our commercial zoning district. This is red on the map in the room, on the map in the front of the room here. It supports businesses, services, employers. This is your traditional post-1950s strip mall type area. It includes Midway Mall. A lot of these areas are not as pedestrian friendly, more auto-centric. And as indicated here on the slide here, it's mostly your shopping plazas, malls, outside of the residential areas, near major arterial roadways, so think of Chestnut Commons, Midway Mall area. Some of the uses that are permitted in here include the recreation centers, outdoor storage, indoor sales and service, small indoor dining, drinking, entertainment facilities, as well as large. There's a limit on this for a reason. There is a restriction in, and I forgot to mention, my apologies, in the corridor district, there's a limitation on up to 20 people that can be occupants within the corridor district. That mirrors our current zoning that allows for a limitation of 20. When it exceeds that number, it needs to be conditionally permitted. There's a reason for that from City Council. They have, there was historically some issues with certain bars in the community, so that restriction is remaining as we move forward here. So moving on here, as I indicated at the beginning here, with the zoning districts that we have, there was one zoning district left out in our last presentation, something we were working on between February and now, and that is we have decided to have 2 industrial districts in the city. The reason for that is industrial uses have, they vary in intensity. So we've packaged essentially industrial uses that can be permitted in the city to a tiered system of low, medium, and high intensity. City of Cleveland has something very similar, and what this allows for is for us to keep, considering how Elyria was developed 100 plus years ago, a lot of our industrial areas are very close to residential communities. So what we wanted to do was separate out some of the heavier industrial uses to ensure they were not near some of our houses. So what we did was we divided it into 2 industrial zoning districts, and each of these 3 zoning uses here, low intensity, medium, and high, fall within those 2 districts. So as we move along here, I'll explain that a little bit more in depth for you. And of course, if you have any questions after the presentation, we can go over it a little bit more. So our Industrial 1 zoning district, that is the light gray on the map in the front of the room here, that allows for our low and medium intensity industrial uses. These usually include office parks, medical uses. It can include various different storage centers and facilities in the community. These areas are somewhat bikeable, attracting workers. They're light intensity at the end of the day. So what do those include? Oops, looks like my slides are going off on me. So those include data centers, storage centers, religious assembly, and then a mix of some indoor dining, drinking, entertainment facilities, your traditional bars. Some breweries are even in light intensity, low intensity industrial areas as well. So it allows sort of a mix between a little bit of commercial uses into that Industrial 1 zoning category. So moving on here, we have our Industrial 2 zoning district. These are the heaviest industrial uses, heavy manufacturing, They include a lot of trucks, heavy trucks, semi-trucks driving into the area. That has been concentrated when you look at the map in the front, and of course, we will provide a map at the end of this presentation for us to look at. That is concentrated on the west end of the city, away from most residential uses, away from downtown enough to allow for those uses to still exist in our city, but we want the development to occur there instead of in your backyard, essentially. These are usually located in industrial parks and railroad corridors. So some of those examples can include gas manufacturing, chemical, biological incineration, slaughterhouses. I don't think there is any in Elyria, but it is listed. Livestock feeding, maintenance and parking of heavy equipment vehicles, stone crushing, milling, that type of stuff. That is where you're going to see those uses moving forward with this new zoning code. So our final zoning district that we have is the Parks and Open Space District. This is pretty straightforward. This is green on the map. This includes farmland. You can think of Schuster's Farm in the community, and then most of our parks and recreational areas in the city. Allows for walkability, biking, mingling of people of different ages and abilities, and dog parks, splash pads, and so forth. So moving on here, next steps. I know we had this meeting in February. There was one last November as well, sort of getting the baseline for this. Currently, this project is under review by our legal department. I did say that earlier. They are going through that. They're providing comments and revisions that we will make. So this is very much a draft. I want to keep that emphasis on that it is a draft. It is not a complete product. And there will be an opportunity for true formal public meetings with your city council members, planning commission, and everyone else that is elected in the community. So this is not a final product. It is currently under review. And those final revisions will be forwarded through our process of planning commission, our committee, city council for 3 readings. We're looking at tentative approval by the end of this year, late 2025, but as you can imagine, there's a lot of moving parts to this. It has more than doubled since February, so we are making progress on it. But the point of having this meeting is for your input, to hear what your thoughts are, your concerns, address them to the best of our ability, and try to have a compromise on what we want to see the future of Elyria to look like. So with that, I will open this up to a question and answer session for you guys. I know we're here until around 8 o'clock, so looks like I went through that presentation a little quick here. So we have an hour and a half to discuss any concerns that we might have regarding the zoning code. So with that, I will open this up, and we will have a microphone going around for any of you as well. Let me just make sure this is working.
I understand that it looks like your intent is to increase density. Density is a good thing for downtown. It's pretty vacant. And so if you're increasing density on the south side, where we've got the old sanitary sewers, what's your thought about that? Are you kidding me? You gotta be kidding me. This is ridiculous. And then if it is really approval by an administrative review, does that mean one person gets to decide what's appropriate in that district?
I'll let Mr. Schneider address the storm sewer concerns, and then I'll address the second part.
Sanitary sewers is what I'm talking about.
In regards to utilities, the zoning ordinances really aren't governing the utilities. That's something that will have to come with a plan to planning commission as far as if somebody wants to build somewhere or do something. there are steps involved that we do to make sure there's adequate sanitary sewers, flow metering, and things of that nature. So that's really not part of this, but it's something that we do in the background during the planning commission process.
But if you're planning on and saying that you can do this, then you should be ready to accept it and deal with the sewers. Not, well, hey, we're gonna work on it, you know what I mean? That's just my opinion. You gotta do what you wanna do. Not very happy.
In terms of the administrative review, we do have a considerable amount of uses that are approved administratively in our current code. We have gone through this considerably. There was changes compared to our February meeting where some things did become conditionally permitted. And as indicated during the presentation, that includes buffers of, for example, 1,000 feet between for example, marijuana uses and even vape shops. We've considered that in this zoning code rewrite. City of Cleveland, in the past month or two, they did approve they had a large concentration of vape shops. And as I said, the main concern with the zoning code is public health and safety. You have a high concentration of vape shops. They limited theirs to about a 2-mile buffer. We can't do that in Elyria. That would be excessive. You would have one on one end and one on the other, and that'd be about it. But what we're doing is we're trying to prevent uses that are incompatible with the district. So that's where the filter comes in with conditional uses. We haven't gone away from conditional uses completely. They're still there. You know, I mean, if you have concerns, Mr. Aiden, regarding conditional uses, I'd be more than happy to go through some of the ones that you believe might be, should be conditionally permitted, of course, but we still do have that process, and we have even improved the filter on what we had comparatively to the old code, where we're calling out that the use-specific criteria that are in this new zoning code are being followed by Planning Commission, that are being followed by City Council to ensure that, you know, it's not being ignored or we're just, you know, passing it through. We want to make sure that all this stuff is addressed formally from a review process, not only administratively, but also on our commission, on our City Council, to ensure that these incompatible uses or what may be deemed somewhat compatible as a conditional use is brought forth and filtered properly. So, you know, I mean, we can table this for further discussion, of course, but it is still in existence, the conditional use review.
Sorry about that. So I'm very proud that West by the River neighbors have changed at least 12 houses back from
Well, currently, our principally permitted uses in the current code, those would be considered administratively approved. It goes through the, you know, the vetting of the zoning verification, and it's just brought forth in that manner. If it's permitted in the district, that's administratively reviewed and brought forth. So what we're doing here is, I mean, I will agree with you, we are allowing greater flexibility, but flexibility in use, you know, I mean, we can look at it from an aesthetic point of view. We can look at the, you know, the Secretary of the Interior's requirements for historical buildings, and we want to ensure that those historical structures are maintained and the integrity of the historical buildings are maintained. But the use, that is, you know, I mean, we want to make sure that something incompatible isn't going in there. We want to make sure that, you know, maybe a marijuana dispensary or a heavy manufacturer isn't going in there, of course. But if they're similar or akin to the main district, such as the downtown district or the corridor or commercial, what have you, if it's akin to it, we're allowing that greater flexibility. So, hey, if somebody wants to come in and open up a brewery in the city or wants to open up an Airbnb in the historic district, they will have to go through less hoops. There's less red tape, less government red tape to allow for more efficiency, and they can get to the finish line earlier than as it is now, because it takes 2, 3, 4 months for somebody to get there. And we're falling behind, unfortunately, compared to other communities. You look at Medina, you look at Cleveland Heights, Parma Heights, they've got this stuff in their code. They have that flexibility. So that's what we're trying to do here, allow this flexibility, because we don't want to fall behind.
I'm very good with
Gotcha, and I understand where you're coming from in terms of property value, but going back to in terms of the marijuana uses, the vape shops, all that stuff, those have specific safeguards in place. That's where the conditional use permit comes in place. So they need to go. So we're eliminating that stuff in that conditional use, and therefore it needs to meet very specific, stringent criteria, not only set forth by the state laws, also the local restrictions that we're going to place on them. The likelihood of that happening is very, very slim, and I don't even believe vape shop use that is not in the downtown district permitted at all, as well as the marijuana use. Those are, even in the existing code, conditionally permitted too. So those safeguards are in place, and the ones that we do have in there, for example, the marijuana uses that are restricted by conditional uses in the current code, that will be carried over into the new zoning code. So in terms of that, that is going to remain the status quo. But with the concern to the 3 to 8 unit residential, that is something that we could take a look at further. And of course, like I said, this will be going to Planning Commission, City Council for your elected officials to take a look at this. This is very preliminary. We still have our legal department looking at this. There may be further revisions to it as is right now, just to sort of, address some of your concerns. That has been addressed, actually. It was originally split by our consultant. We worked together and we made it into just the downtown district. So that has been addressed. Yeah, so it's singularly downtown.
I can speak to that. There is no plan shared with the city of Elyria to put a Meijer there. We have not submitted plans. We have not had a conversation with Meijer. We know that there is interest in that area for a lot of retail, but there are no immediate plans for that to occur. So thank you. Yes, we are well aware that there are traffic concerns there. We drive through that traffic too, so we've experienced it at peak hours. This is a common chicken and egg problem when you have development and you have the space and the interest in developing it. Some of the traffic solutions have to come along with that development. So I don't know if Engineer Schneider could speak to a little bit more to, some of what they've done so far to mitigate traffic to the best of their ability in that area, as well as, maybe what some future plans could be. I know that there were some plans several years ago that were shared, and I believe ODOT had approved them, but they are massive changes that we're not sure without the development being, committed, that they even make sense without knowing exactly what the development plan is moving forward. So I know that's a very not technical answer to a very technical issue, so I don't know if Mr. Schneider could share a little bit more with that.
I apologize, I was talking to Councilman Armstrong, so I didn't really hear the question.
It's one you're very familiar with, traffic at Chestnut Ridge and 57.
In regards to the traffic there, obviously, we've done some things to help the traffic out over there. Unfortunately, you have to also consider the fact that Chestnut Ridge, for a number of years, even currently, for a large portion of it, isn't even in the city of Elyria, just so you know. The State Route 57 in Chestnut Ridge is not in the city of Elyria intersection. It's actually outside. The city has taken over the traffic light from ODOT so we can coordinate it better with the traffic light at Chestnut Commons. But a lot of that's not inside the city, so we don't have a lot of control. So we do our best. We work with them, but obviously there's been some improvements. We've got out there now, there's more vehicle detection, so we're able to control the traffic better, be more responsive. If no one's in a lane, you click over, go to a different lane where there is. So we're doing that type of stuff. We have, I don't want to go too far in this, but we have almost like an AI type capability of monitoring the traffic over there, and with a click of a button, it can modify it. The problem is it doesn't always work for every type of situation. If you actually watch the traffic over there from certain times of day, it's dead in one area, then it just all of a sudden, cars come out of nowhere. They really do. The Reeser Point crossing, connecting that over, has taken a lot of traffic off of that intersection as well as it provides traffic over there as well. But so we continually to do a lot over there. As far as expansion, there's a number of things that have to happen still before that happens. As Director Calvert said, there's a ODOT involved as well. If there are any connections on 57, that's a limited access highway. We have no authority to grant that. That's through ODOT. So we work with the developers as much as possible to move the traffic as much as possible. They do traffic studies, but unfortunately, there's certain times of day you're going to have backup. It's all over the place. I mean, you can go to any city, you'll find backup. Columbus, Cleveland, even in Avon, right around 83. That's a nightmare during certain times of day. But majority of the time, it moves really well out there. We have a traffic technician who monitors it all the time. So we're doing our best, but unfortunately, sometimes you can't control everything. And sometimes some of the things also depend on the equipment working. So we've lost communication over the past couple of weeks here and there, which when that happens, it does cause issues with our timing. It's not necessarily that the lights aren't working properly, or they aren't working properly because they don't have the proper communication to make some of those adjustments as they need to. But our traffic technicians and our communications departments, they do their best getting out there and checking those type of things. Hope that helped. No, no. Shortly after you go past Turnus Street there is the border with Ridgeville. So there's like, I don't know if you can, I mean, there's like a tree line there with a ditch, which you might not be able to tell too well. That's actually shortly after that, maybe a couple 100 feet, yes.
Yes, in the back.
I can address that. Ma'am, there's a majority of homes that I have personally placed investigations for specific things like bulldozing things into the river, stockpiling stuff in their backyards, all kind of different things. So the building department has a lot of cases that I personally took down there. So we are working on those. Yes, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. We are working on that issue at this. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Again, there are several homes that are being investigated on that I personally took to the building department because of residential complaints about specific things that you're talking about. Oh, there's been a few that's been speaking up quite often.
So also to address your question, which was concerns of property maintenance as well as involvement from the building department, zoning does speak to, and this is our current code, large semi-trucks in residential properties and so forth. That will also be reflected in the new proposed zoning code as well. We are actually working on defining that a little bit better compared to the current one. Yes, so that is something that is a note I have, and it is being considered absolutely in this proposed zoning code. Thank you, thank you. Is there any other questions right now? We do have also a interactive map that is available on the city planning webpage. I can pull that up if any of you are interested in seeing your address, what it's going to be zoned moving forward. Just to bring that up, just to have all of us review this a little bit more. So if any of you are interested in that as well, we can do that. Or if any of you have any further questions, we are here to answer them. Oh, I'm referring to the map on the screen here, actually. So what we can do with this is we search by address, we type in your address if you're comfortable with that, being shared here with the group, and you could see what your zoning will be moving forward. And of course, if you want to see on your own, this is available on the city webpage, or, if you shoot me an email or a call, just to, see what your zoning will be with the new proposed zoning code. Yes. For the downtown area? Yeah, I can move over to the downtown area. Oh, in the slides, absolutely, yeah. So we will show the slides for the downtown district here. I must have passed it, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, I think that, yeah, I know. Public health and safety is that's the purpose of zoning. So the way, we've gone about having this Euclidean concept, that's the planning term here, but since the 1920s, we've made things more restrictive, especially 1950s onward, where everything was separated. And what this allows for is more flexibility. That's the goal. And I understand that some of these new concepts might be a little different, a little out there with this. All this can be amended moving forward if it doesn't work hypothetically. But at the end of the day, a lot of communities have been doing this. And like I said, Elyria is getting stuck behind compared to the other communities, locally even, Northeast Ohio, Medina, Cleveland Heights, and I know we're not exactly those communities either, but having a greater flexibility in use allows for development in the area. Those residential properties south of downtown, traditionally some of those houses have had, in other communities, maybe a barber shop or a salon. Different use, go on, Tom.
In Medina, great city, downtown's beautiful.
Yeah, there has been discussion about an overlay district for West by the River that has been not addressed in the current code that you have in front of you, but those properties are listed in a map that's exactly what we have in the current one. That is something that is being reviewed by our legal department, and I've been working with them closely over the last few weeks. They've been going through it and trying to, provide their comments as well. So like I told you, this is not a finished product, of course. It's a work in progress. And that's why we're holding this meeting. So, of course, thank you for bringing your comments here regarding it. And they are considered. We just need to find that happy medium, and I think, like I said at the beginning of the presentation, a compromise. That's what all this is about, is finding a compromise that works for the residents of Elyria. Because I'm not trying to come in here, and dictate everything at all. No, that's not any of our intention. The intention is to come to a compromise and find something that works for the community, that can make the community prosper moving forward. That is something we can definitely look into, parking concerns, but you have to consider parking and any sort of street parking. That's outside the purview of the zoning code at the end of the day. That's right away, that's city-owned property. Parking is a very hot topic issue across the country. There's been cities that have removed parking requirements. We have maintained ours in this proposal. We've kept it similar to what is there, but we've increased our parking, or rather decreased the parking minimums that we need in some of these areas to allow for greater flexibility, less needs for variances, sort of going back to what I was saying with the reducing government red tape with some of this. But that is something that can be considered moving forward, but as I said, the street parking, that's outside of the purview of zoning. Yes. Okay, well, I'm glad you're here, glad you're here. So in terms of the meetings for this, there will be, if you provided your name and email address on our form on the back, I will be providing to the group any sort of information of when this is ready by our legal department, and we'll start moving forward in the administrative, or the, not administrative review, but the review by our planning commission committee and the city council, where the elected officials will be hearing your voices on this matter. So in terms of, from our perspective, from what is being built, we still have work in progress to do on our end. A lot of work with our legal folks as well. And once those concerns and issues are addressed, we will hopefully have a product that is ready, and that will move forward to the planning commission, so on and so forth. I can't put a time frame on that currently because there's a lot of moving parts, as you can imagine, with something of this caliber. The zoning code is one portion of this. We have two other sections that are about 50 pages each as well, so this is about a 200-page plus document in total. So there is a lot of moving parts to it, but I will absolutely keep you informed, as well as there will be notices provided when this is ready for planning commission out to our, the Chronicle Telegram does have noticing in there, and that will be 10 days prior to the planning commission meeting. That's required by law. But like I said, if you did provide your name, email address on the form in the back, if you didn't, please, include that to ensure that you are informed, and we will do our best due diligence here to inform everyone in the city that when this is ready.
I just also to give you a little bigger picture about the governmental process here. So this will go, once our law department's reviewed and determined that the draft is, legal, and there's no conflicts within that from a legal perspective, we will put it in front of planning commission for the commission to review and make a recommendation to city council. From there, it will be discussed at a city council committee meeting, where that recommendation from Planning Commission, any proposed changes, amendments, the entirety of the draft will go to Council Committee for review. So that is another opportunity for you to attend, both Planning Commission and Council Committee are opportunities for you to come in and speak, share your concerns, and then from there, it will go to City Council, full council, where we are, I think it's fair to say, pretty confident it will have 3 readings. And each one of those council meetings will be an opportunity for you to comment and share. And then it will go for a vote of council after that 3rd reading. So there is a lot of process and opportunity for you to come and share your voice and your concerns. I will also say, though, in the meanwhile, as a staff, we really want to make sure to the fullest extent possible we're addressing your concerns and balancing what has been laid out for us in that comprehensive plan, where the residents have said what they want to see happen in the city with what your specific concerns are. So I want you to feel comfortable to reaching out to any one of us here, asking your questions, having a conversation about what you see, what you like, what you don't like. I can't promise that we'll make those changes, but we definitely want to be sensitive to that and make sure we're finding that balance and striking that balance. So thank you.
Okay, are there any further questions for us? While you have us here, of course, we will be here until 8, but there's no other further questions. I think we can sort of end the meeting. If you guys want to take a look at the maps that we have here, as well as the map that we have available on the webpage. And if you have any further questions, we will be here until 8 to address any of those that you might have. So thank you for coming out tonight. We appreciate it. Like I said, we are here to hear your concerns, your questions regarding this update. It's a lot. It's a lot to absorb. So if you have any concerns, questions moving forward, feel free to reach out to any of us. Our contact information's in the back. Business cards are available. And of course, we are here at City Hall. So thank you again for coming out, and have a good night. Thank you.